Salt, or sodium chloride, has been cast as the villain in the cardiovascular health. Public health campaigns relentlessly urge us to cut the salt, framing even the pinch as a step toward inevitable heart attacks and stroke. But is sodium truly the dietary demon it's made out to be, or have we oversimplified the complex mineral essential to life? Sodium plays foundational roles in human physiology. It maintains extracellular fluid volume, enable nerve impulse transition, regulate muscle contraction, and support optimal cellular function. Without it, blood pressure would collapse, nerve would go silent, and the muscle would fail. Yet the narrative that all salt is bad ignores this vital contribution and this nuance of how high sodium interact with our bodies and our diets. Have you ever wondered why unseasoned food tastes flat, or why restaurant meals often feel so crave or seen? Sodium enhances flavor by suppressing bitterness, balancing sweetness, and triggering our brain's reward pathways. It's a survival mechanism. Early humans set up salt to ensure adequate sodium stores in environments where dietary sources were scarce. Today, the same craving persists, nourished by a high-processed food engineered to hit our palates just right. Moreover, sodium intake is tightly regulated by kidneys and hormonal systems, especially the renin-angiotensin system. When dietary sodium dips below, our bodies adapt by conserving sodium and constructing blood vessels. Moreover, sodium intake is tightly regulated by kidneys and hormonal systems, especially at the renin, angiotensin, and aldosterone system. When dietary sodium dips below, our bodies adapt by conserving sodium and constructing blood vessels to maintain pressure. This elegant orchestration underscores why sodium cannot simply be labeled an unmitigated hazard. We've all heard that lowering salt intake will automatically translate into large drops in the blood pressure and reduce cardiovascular deaths. Indeed, meta-analysis showed that modest sodium reduction around 20 to 40 millimole per day can lower systolic blood pressure by 4 to 5 millimeter mercury in hypertensive individuals. But what happens when we push sodium to low? Observational data reveal a G-shaped relationship between sodium intake and cardiovascular outcomes. Both very high and very low sodium excretion associated with the increased risk of events and mortality. In the large prospective urban-rural epidemiology study, adults excreting less than 3 grams per day of sodium had a similar or sometimes higher cardiovascular event rates compared to those consuming more. This finding begs the question, are aggressive sodium restriction strategies risk-free? Clinical guidelines often advocate reducing population sodium intake below 2 grams per day, approximately 5 grams salt. Yet, randomized trials demonstrate that blood pressure reductions plateau and other hormonal systems activate when sodium dips below 3 grams per day. In the Cochrane meta-analysis, they reduced below 3 grams per day, triggering increases in the plasma, renin, aldosterone, and catecholamines, and the markers of insulin resistance. Such neurohormonal effects could counteract cardiovascular benefits and even increase arrhythmia risk. Furthermore, ultra-low sodium diets may impair exercise performance, especially in hot climates, while limiting plasma volume expansion and increasing dehydration risk. Athletes and manual laborers often require higher sodium to replace losses through sweat and preserve circulatory stability. Thus, one size fits all sodium target may inadvertently harm subgroups with elevated needs. Beyond hormonal perturbations, excessive sodium restriction can lead to unintended behaviors. People may compensate by seeking out high-flavor seasoning rich in potassium, sugar, or artificial additives, an unhealthy trade-off for heart health. In Southern cultures, low-salt diets have been linked to increased consumption of processed salt-free. In certain cultures, low-salt diets have been linked to increased consumption of processed salt-free products, high in saturated fats to enhance mouthfeel, undermining overall dietary quality. There is also the challenge of a measurement. Most larger-scale studies rely on a single spot urine samples or dietary records, which can misclassify individuals through sodium intake. Such methodological limitations complicate our understanding of sodium real-world effects and the safety of a strict reduction policy. So, how do we reconcile sodium's essential roles with its potential harms and excessive levels? A balanced approach emphasizes replacing processed foods with a whole, minimally processed option, naturally level in the sodium and higher in the potassium, magnesium, and fiber. The dietary approach to stop hypertension. Diets exemplifies these strategies. It achieves significant blood pressure reductions not by extreme sodium cuts, but by boosting fruits, vegetables, and low-fat dairy, while moderation sodium to around 2.4 grams per day. Individualization matters. Patients with a salt-sensitive hypertension, heart failure, or a chronic kidney disease may benefit most from tighter control, whereas healthy young adults and active individuals might tolerate and even require moderate sodium intake above guidelines threshold. Continuous monitoring of blood pressure, kidney function, and biomarkers can guide personalized recommendations. Balance isn't just about cutting salt, it's about restoring the harmony between sodium and potassium. Two electrolytes that dance together to regulate blood pressure. Potassium helps relax blood vessel walls and excrete excess sodium throughout the kidneys, blunting sodium's pressure effect. Yet, most Western diets are sodium heavy and potassium poor, thanks to processed foods. Boosting potassium with bananas, spinach, beans, and avocado creates a counterweight dietary sodium. These electrolyte synergies support healthy circulation without drastic salt cuts. Rather than fearing sodium, focus on electrolyte-rich pellets that naturally correlate both minerals for optimal heart function. Salt is not an ambiguous dietary evil, it's a lifeline, vital for a nerve condition, fluid balance, and a taste enjoyment, but one whose excess can strain cardiovascular systems. Blanket proclamation to avoid salt at all costs, overlook human physiological adaptability and the heterogeneity of individual needs. What we need is nuance, moderate sodium reduction in populations with a high average intake, targeted intervention for at-risk group, and encouragement of a nutrient-rich, minimally processed diets that naturally collaborate sodium and potassium.